Hello, here I have the Ulanzi Lite SL02. It is a flash with a small LED light on it. Fits into any camera hot shoe, pretty much plug and play with this thing. There's 4 different power settings and then the constant LED light that you can turn on. So can open it up here. Doesn't come with any charger or anything, so just the device itself. And yeah, here it is. You just plug it into any hot shoot. You do have to have the silent mode turned off and make sure that all the flash settings are enabled. When I looked it up, it said that you had to have the silent mode disabled. That was about the only thing. I usually shoot in silent just so shutter noise isn't loud and obnoxious. Yeah, so hold down this on-off button to turn it on. And then it has 4 different modes. 1 out of 1 being brightest. Then you have half, quarter, and 1/8. And you can also press the on-off button to test the flash. So you can see, not even sure if that was picked up by the camera. And then this will show red when it's recharging. And then this is the least bright mode. And then if you hold down the mode button, the light turns on. It's pretty bright, pretty good light. It's definitely only bright enough for selfie lighting. I wouldn't do anything further than like 5 feet. So yeah, I'll put it on the camera and show some example pictures. You do have to have it in you have to have the shutter speed at 1/250, and with that you can't really do much with the aperture. You have to set the aperture pretty high. Yeah, here's all the modes and stuff, but yeah, that's about the only downside with the flash, is that you do have to have the aperture set pretty high. Otherwise everything will be blown out in your exposure and it'll just be way too bright. You also might want to keep it on this low setting most of the time, or else everything will be a little too bright. But let's get into some examples. Alright, so here's what the light looks like. Only downside is that the lens is casting a shadow from the light. It doesn't sit too high up over the lens, so that's a bit of a problem. But it is pretty bright. I mean, you can see to the bathroom here. There's my cat, and I feel like it's pretty decent brightness. I don't know. Have all the lights off, and see, it works pretty well. You know, it's not too bad.
Alright, so here's some example photos that I took. This is one just base, nothing. Um, I started in the lowest setting. As you'll see, it'll get brighter. The shutter speed is 1/250th, and the aperture is set at f8. Um, yeah, pretty good quality photos. I think you definitely get the flash effect. Only sucks you have to have a lower shutter speed and higher aperture. That last one was just with the light on. Same with this one. Next, little selfie. That's what it would look like. And then I corrected the exposure by increasing the aperture to f14. And here's if you increase the shutter speed over 1 over 250ths, you'll see that part of it is cut out, just the flash isn't fast enough for the shutter speed.
Yeah, so here's what it looks like on the camera. Pretty small and compact. Super light, super easy to use. Like I said, just turn it on, hold down this button, wait for it to charge up, and then point and shoot, and it takes the flash. Really easy, really simple. Hold down on the mode button to turn on the light, and yeah, that's about it. Honestly, the flash isn't that great, but I think you get a nice little beginner flash for what it is. I'm super new to photography, so having this I think is just really nice because I don't have to set up a bunch of stuff in manual. I mean, the only thing I have to do is like keep the shutter speed at 250 and change the aperture. You can go lower than 250, but I keep it there just so the pictures aren't overexposed every time, especially if I want to keep like somewhat of a low aperture. Sorry if I misspoke and said shutter speed. Well, I'm at 250 shutter speed so that I can lower the aperture if I want to, but if the pictures are still coming out overexposed, then you can always increase the aperture so that they're darker. But I keep it at around 1 over 250 and then f8, and they usually come out pretty good. Again, the only downside is the lens does cast a shadow because it's not very high up. If you have a smaller lens, maybe like a prime lens or some kind of wide angle, I'm sure that won't be a problem, which the flash is probably better on anyways. If you're taking selfies or group photos, stuff like that, that would be a lot better than the one I have on. So yeah, that's kind of a little review and analysis of this flash and light combo. I think it's worth it. It was $29 and you get a lot out of it. It also takes a USB-C here. Doesn't come with a charger, but super easy to charge. Not sure what the battery life is, but I mean, it's so easy to turn on and off. I can't imagine that you'd run out of battery in a day's worth of its use. So yeah, thanks for watching.